Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back into your Hog Hoops recruiting report. That's Kevin McPherson. I'm Evan Kamiko. Kevin, a lot to talk about it, so let's jump right into it. Practice has been on school. This is going to be the second week of classes, so the Hogs are back on the court. How has practice been going?
Well, they got back on the court on day one of school starting back. That was last Monday. So another week after that nearly 3-week layoff. That wasn't much of a break relative to what's ahead of them now because it's going to be practices. Those ramp up. They're still doing 4 hours per week. So it's limited on-court stuff, just like June and July, Evan. But that'll ramp up soon enough. Some things that stand out as they come back, not only are they back to the limited practice stuff, again, 4 hours per week, but you had Chandler Lawson, the grad transfer from Memphis. He did not practice in June and July. He committed to Arkansas back in late June. In fact, a day after the NBA draft on June 23rd is when he committed, but he did not join the team until school started officially, when school got back, and now he's on the practice court. He was one of those players that didn't go through June and July limited work. We know some other players didn't do that. You know, Trevin Brazil, who was limited in June and July, doing a lot of side work, not going full contact when Arkansas did that, not a full participant in practice. That remains to be true as of now. Now, we've always known that Brazil has, a target date for full return sometime in September. So here we are about to turn the page to September. We'll see if he gets ramped up at all this next week. In practice, I don't expect he will, but there was some team highlights that were put out. We know right after the summer stuff, they put out a lot of individual highlights. Not a lot per player, but all the players that participated got their highlights out. This past week, they put a couple of highlight reels out. It was team stuff, just blending everybody together. And you saw some Trevor Brazil in there going through some drill work. And really, you saw 5-on-0 shell work. You didn't see any full contact stuff in the highlights that were put out anyway. Even if they did some, they didn't release any of that. But Brazil's not going through that anyway. So just to clarify for people who see him in those practice highlights, he's still limited during limited on-court practices. So, this is a situation where there's still a couple of players they're waiting to get back on the court. I won't go into specifics there right now. But we've talked about some of these guys and who was going to be expected to be back in the fall semester. And in week one, some of those missing pieces were still off the court. But those things that's going to change rather soon. It just didn't in week one. And so you always kind of keep your eyes on what's actually going on. The university's been the men's basketball program's been a little bit methodical with their release of videos and photos, but it's always great to get something. I thought they did a great job as usual. When they do put something out, it catches your attention. One of the things I noticed in the last team video that came out a day or two ago, well, there were 3 Joseph Pinion highlights in there, the 6'5" wing out of Morrilton. And what we've seen now from his individual highlight that came out a couple of weeks ago, and in this team, he was featured 3 times, once making a 3-pointer, once dunking in a drill. Another one was a putback drunk. Again, it's a 5-on-0 shell drill. But his previous individual highlight reel also showed him running back door, catching a pass, and dunking. So the message here is Joseph Pinion, don't just frame him as a shooter. He's a good athlete. He can make plays at the rim. And then also he's a guy that I think is an excellent passer. We'll see what kind of role he gets in his sophomore season. But he did help Arkansas win a couple of SEC games last year. Great to see some video work from him from practice, because here's a guy now in year 2. And so you expect him to be stronger, understand the system better, and be ready. He was ready last year when called upon. He may be even more ready now, Evan, after seeing some snippets of him. So there's not a lot really to go into other than Chandler Lawson joining to make sure everybody understands Trevor Brazil is still in his process, and the fact that the team is still doing the limited work, which should be the case, again, carrying over into week 2 in fall camp. It starts this week. Everybody's gearing up for football, Evan. I understand that. But we got some basketball recruiting to talk about, and also just the little light stuff we touched from practice I thought was important.
Yeah, and social media can be very deceiving. What you see from not only Eric Musselman, but also the team, everything's cryptic. Everything has a little bit of reasoning behind it. So let's talk about recruiting anyway. What are some recruits? Who's coming into town as football season is here? And you can get some of those recruits and show them football time. And it could be a good time to bring some guys in.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We went through four of the upcoming visitors last week. I'm going to touch on those again, but we've got a fifth guy that we know about right now, and he'll actually be the first one of these five coming in. And it's a guy that's not a stranger to Arkansas Razorback football games. Jalen Shelley. He's a Texas native, 6'7", 6'8" combo forward, composite national top 35 player. So he's knocking on the door of five-star status. Not that far off, but a four-star. Again, 6'7", 6'8", Texas native combo forward. Like his length and his versatility. I know Musman does, but he'll be at Link Prep, Link Academy, right there in Springfield, Missouri. We know that that's where Jordan Walsh, the five-star hog, one and done last year, drafted by, know that he ended up with the Celtics out of the draft, and will be a rookie this upcoming NBA season. But that same program, it's a fairly new independent program on the national stage, but in a couple of years of competition, it's already been a major player on the independent circuit, getting all the way to the Geico National Championship game 2 years ago with when Jordan Walsh was there. But Shelley is a versatile guy. And you talk about Walsh at 6'7" in versatility. This is kind of in that mold. They're not exactly the same kind of guy, but that's why I wanted to kind of segue with Walsh a little bit, is because it's another guy with that 3-4 combo versatility. And Shelley's a young man who took an unofficial visit to Arkansas last year for his brother was a quarterback at Missouri State when Arkansas struggled for a while with that team and won that. The football Hogs won that game, but Jalen Shelley was there for that game. Now it's an official visit. And I said all of that to get to the date, September 8th. So a Friday, less than 2 weeks away. That's a Friday's his official visit date. The following day, Arkansas has its Fayetteville home opener. I think it's Kent State. The Golden Flash is on September 9th.
Yep.
But his official visit date he's told me, is set for the 8th. And so he'll be the first of these other guys we talked about last week, but I'll go through it a day later. Malachi Marino, class of 2025. Shelley's 2024, early signing period in November. You were going to keep an eye on that one. But Malachi Marino, 6'11" forward center out of Georgetown, Kentucky, national top 50 guy. Obviously, this will be an unofficial visit for him. He'll attend that football game on the 9th against Kent State. But then later in September, just a week later after that, another class of 2024. Isaiah Elohim, a 6'5" wing, Sierra Canyon, one of those basketball powerhouse independent schools out in California. This guy's ranked national number 22 by 247 Sports. They still have him as a 4-star, but he could end up working his way back to 5-star status, which is where he was before a knee injury last year. But Arkansas has been recruiting him for a while. Then you move into from September 16th. Arkansas football will host BYU that day, by the way. So all these guys will attend basketball practices as well, Evan. So know that some of them will be going to football games, if not all of them. But after Elohim, you've got another class of 2024, Rakeese Passmore, an explosive 6'5" wing at a Combine Academy in North Carolina. He'll be visiting an official visit, class of 2024 again, official visit on October 7th. Now, that's a Friday when he's coming in. Arkansas football will be on the road playing Ole Miss, so he's one that won't be attending an Arkansas football game when he's on his visit. And then in late October, another name that we know about right now, Jermaine O'Neal Jr., a 6'5" wing at a Dynasty Prep. Let's go back to Texas. That's Dallas-Fort Worth. But he'll be in for an unofficial visit, class of 2025, national top 60 guy, the son of Jermaine O'Neal Sr., who was an NBA All-Star, and a guy that was a none and done. You talk about one and dones, he was a none and done back in the day. But that October 28th date's important because you won't have Jermaine O'Neal Jr. attending an Arkansas basketball practice. He'll be going to the Arkansas-Purdue charity exhibition game. He won't be the only recruit, by the way. That's the first name we have right now. I'm going to be able to release at some point more of those. I can't wait. But that's 5 upcoming recruits when we look at September, October, and then a key date here very soon, around the end of the first week of September. Coaches will be able to, now that we're out of the dead period, which ended August 20th, coaches can get back on the road and recruiting in-home visits, on-campus visits at the recruit schools. So you're going to see a lot of business pick up, especially with class of 2024, as Arkansas tries to dial in and zero in on what they want to do. I keep saying Eric Musman and the Hoop Hogs, I think it'll be a similar high school class to last year. They signed 2 guys, Layden Blocker, Bay Fall. We know those guys are freshmen now. I think it's going to be 2, maybe 3. I've mentioned some of the names. You're getting that positional versatility. the 6'4", 6'5" wing, and Shelley, the 6'7", 6'8", 3-4 combo. Those are the kind of guys we're keeping an eye on right now, because those are the guys they're bringing in to visit for class of 2024, Evan, that we know about. We're going to have some more surprises maybe as soon as next week in terms of names, dropping names on visits.
Yeah, it should be really exciting to see who Eric Musselman brings in, and the atmosphere around campus is going to be electric with football season coming back. Anyway, before we go, let's talk some Pro Hogs. Bobby Portis over in the Philippines with Team USA. How have they been doing? How does Portis look? I know they're coming off a win, which is pretty good.
99-72 over New Zealand. And this was their first game in group play. There's 4 groups in the FIBA World Cup. You match up against the other 3 teams in your group, and then you come out of that with seeds, and you play for the FIBA World Cup title. But Team USA off to a great start. We mentioned it, 27-point win, almost broke 100, 99-72. Bobby played 9 minutes, almost 9 minutes, just his hair under, but 4 points on 2 of 4 field goal shooting. He ran baseline and got a dunk, but they waved it off because of an illegal screen by a teammate on the play. He wasn't real happy about it when he looked at the highlight after he dunked it. But he did have a rebound and a steal. Again, only 9 minutes. He always has a positive plus minus. It's hard not to when you're winning games by 20 plus. But Bobby had it, in his minutes, he's always productive and he always has a positive impact. And Team USA will be in their second game in group play. In the Philippines, local times, those games are played at night. Over here, it's early in the morning. So 7:30 a.m. Central Time, if you want to get up, it'll be on ESPN2. Team USA takes on Greece. Now, Team USA defeated Greece. Bobby scored in double figures in the showcase games when Team USA went 5-0 prior to the World Cup. So they had those basically warm-up games that don't count. But Greece is one of the opponents that they beat rather handily. Greece is playing without the Greek freak. Understand that. Giannis is not playing. Hasn't been playing. So we'll see if Greece is able to keep it closer. But that was one of Bobby's better games in the showcase part of it. And so game 2, and both teams are 1-0, by the way. Greece won its opening game in group play. So this will be 2 unbeaten teams at 1-0 squaring off tomorrow. We'll see what Bobby Portis does with his opportunities, Evan.
Absolutely. It's going to be really exciting. And France just got eliminated earlier today. So FIBA World Cup, a lot of that is going on. It's going to be very fun to see how that progresses. Kevin, as always, thank you so much for joining. That's going to do it. More Pig Trail Show coming up after the break.